Of our commitments to each other that got me into politics. And that's the reason that I'm running for the presidency of the United States, because we have lost that feeling and we have to restore it if we're going to restore America's greatness. We have got a set of challenges that are as great as any generation has faced. And everybody here knows what they are. A healthcare system that's broken and bankrupting families, as well as bankrupting our government. An education system that is teaching only some of our children, and despite the sloganeering, no child left behind, kids are being left behind, and the money was left behind for no child left behind. We've got an economy that's doing very well for some on Wall Street, but folks on Main Street are seeing their wages and their salaries flatline. Unions are having trouble negotiating for anything other than just keeping the benefits that they already have. Can't even talk about increased wages. We've got the lack of an energy policy, which is resulting in us sending $800 million a day to some of the most hostile nations on earth. We got a war that should have never been authorized, that should have never been allowed. A war that cost us $500 billion and thousands of lives. A war that's made us less safe. A war that's diminished our standing in the world. And a war that we need to bring to an end. We know what the challenges are, but sometimes I think we're not clear on the prescription to meet those challenges. We have to have plans and policies in order to address these challenges, but the truth is that every candidate for the presidency, especially on the Democratic side, is going to have well thought through plans for how to deal with these issues. And a lot of them are going to overlap. We know, for example, on health care, that if you put more money into prevention so that a child doesn't have to go to the emergency room for treatable ailments like asthma, then you save money. That if you provide care to the 20% of those who have chronic illnesses like diabetes, that you will save 80% of the cost of the entire healthcare system that is devoted to the chronically ill. That if you put apply medical technology, so we stop having to use 3 or 4 paper forms for every transaction, whether it's a prescription or trying to sort through your insurance carrier, that we will cut down bureaucracy and red tape, and that we can get all that money and make sure that every single person in America has basic health insurance. There's no reason why we can't do that when we're spending $2 trillion a year every year on health care in America. We can accomplish that. We know that on the education front, that if we put money into early childhood education, that helps every child prepare for their first day of school. And we know that the most important ingredient in success for our children is having teachers who are properly paid and properly trained and have a path of professional development. If we respect our teachers the way they deserve to be respected, we can have the kind of school systems that we need all across the country. We know that. We know that if we invest in green technology and alternative fuels the way that we're doing in Iowa, and Illinois, and Nebraska, that we can grow our fuel here in the United States. If Brazil can have 80% of its new cars flexible fuel vehicles that run on ethanol, there's no reason why America can't do it either. No reason. And we can create jobs all throughout the region. Helping to eliminate our dependence on foreign oil. But none of these things we're going to be able to do effectively until we bring this war in Iraq to a close. I was I was in Walter Reed the other day, and when you meet these young people, 18, 19, 20, 21, lost their legs, some of them had their spine shattered, some of them blinded, and they're so courageous and they are so committed to America, and they're so proud of what they do, and you'd be amazed at the lack of bitterness that you hear in their voices. Which is why we have a solemn obligation to make sure that when we put our young men and women into harm's way, that we're doing it for the right reasons. And we're not basing it on false intelligence. And by the way, when they come home, we have a solemn obligation to treat them the way they deserve to be treated. When they come home, they shouldn't have to beg for disability payments. When they come home, they shouldn't have to be thrown in the dumpsters to find something to eat. When they come home, they should be respected as the heroes they are and be able to find jobs and put their lives back together again. And we're not doing that, and that's something we can still get right in this board. We can still do that. But for all these challenges, the biggest challenge is for us to overcome the cynicism that I talked about. And take this government back and understand that those words, this is a government of, by, and for the people, those aren't just words, but that's the truth. That is how our democracy has to function. When the American people don't pay attention, there's all kinds of mischief in Washington. But when they're paying attention, things straighten out. When we are paying attention and engaged and involved, then good things happen in America because our government starts reflecting the core decency of the American people. And that is what we have to bring about in this election. We have to transform our politics. Our politics has become small and timid, and it's all about who's up and who's down, who's winning and who's losing at any given time, instead of trying to build a common sense, practical, non-ideological agenda for moving the country forward. And that's what we have to reverse. Now, people say, when I announced that I was running for president, they said, you know, he's a terrific young guy. You know, really, he's got a lot of potential. He gave a great speech, but you know, he hasn't been in Washington long enough. He needs some seasoning. And of course, they ignore the work I did as a state legislator, providing health insurance for kids who didn't have it, or reforming a death penalty system that was broken, or passing ethics reform legislation that even some Democrats resisted. They ignore my work as a constitutional lawyer and as a civil rights attorney and as a community organizer. I understand all that, but my main response to them is this. You know, I have only been in Washington for a few years, but I've been in Washington long enough to know Washington needs to change. That I know. That I'm confident about. And I'm also confident about the fact that the issues we're working on now, they're not issues of the campaign for me. These are the issues that define my life. These are commitments that I've been working on all my life. And they're issues that many of you have been working on and living out all your life. So the objective of this meeting is for me to hear from you, to allow you to lift the hood, kick the tires a little bit, to see